Why did you ask me to accompany you, sir?
I needed an engineer.
The ship's full of engineers. Giorgio's an engineer.
An engineer I can trust.
She thinks I'm useless.
She's concerned for Michael and lacks the self-awareness to control her behavior in such an unsettled state. We are introducing ourselves to the future. You, Ensign Tilly, are a wonderful first impression.
Welcome to Deep Space Pride, a gay Star Trek podcast. My name is Mike. I'm one of your hosts, and with me is Johnson, my co-host. How are you, Johnson?
I'm not too bad today, actually. Yeah, I think all things considered, in terms of what is going on in the world and on every news site, I'm actually doing okay. What about yourself?
Yeah, I would say that today is one of the days that I feel the most normal out of recent times. So
That's good.
I
That's
slept
positive.
well last night. So
You didn't wake up screaming in the middle of the night?
I did not wake up screaming in the middle of the night.
Okay,
but,
that's good. Positive.
Yeah, it's definitely positive given, like you said, the state of the world right now.
Yeah, totally.
So given all of that, I think we should shake things up and go talk with Deanna for a few minutes. What do you think?
Sure, that sounds great.
Let's go dish with Deanna.
Come in. Hi.
You got a minute?
Sure.
So it's been a couple weeks since we've recorded, and a lot's happened, and we wanted to share with our listeners what's been going on. We were going strong for so many weeks, even releasing 2 episodes on some weeks for you guys, and suddenly Discovery episode 2 came out, and poof, we disappeared.
We did. No one knew what happened to us. We just fell off the face of the planet.
We did. And so we thought we'd share with our listeners a little bit about what's been going on. So do you want to give a little bit of an update first?
Yeah. So, I think that we've both been having a lot of just family issues. For myself, just last week, I think I've mentioned it before in a previous episode, but my parents are a little bit on the older side. I don't know if I talked about this extensively or not. I probably mentioned it at some point, but I don't remember. But my dad is in his mid-90s. My mom is in her mid-70s. She's younger, but she's not like a spring chicken, So she is essentially my dad's caretaker, right, for all intents and purposes. And essentially last week, on Wednesday, she just literally, she woke up and she couldn't move. Like, she could not get up. She could not walk. And it's just been an accumulation of just aches and pains over time. But it just got to a point where she could not function. She literally had to call an ambulance to take her to the hospital because she was in that much pain. And fortunately, a few relatives, like a few family friends and relatives came. They live like an hour and a half away from me. So it's not that close. Not too far, but not too close. I started my workday and found out through my parents' neighbor that she went to the hospital. I was like, what the F? I was like, why am I finding out from like a third party? Like, it's not even it's a fourth party. It's like my parents told family friends, and then family friends told the neighbor, and then the neighbor told me. And I'm like, why am I so down the line? And I was like, what? So I had to basically, like tell my team, hey, like my work team, I got to go home. I don't know what's going on with my parents. I couldn't get in touch with my mom. my dad. I think someone's taking care of him. I'm not sure. So I went home. I got there and there were a bunch of people there. And essentially, yeah, I had to like, help out with my dad, figure out like some short-term care solutions, go see my mom in the hospital. It was like all this stuff. And I was also just juggling. There was a lot of stuff going on at work, so I was juggling that. And I just did not have the time, bandwidth, or energy to even think about the podcast that particular week. So I was home for 5 days or so, just helping to take care of what was going on, making sure that things were just okay at home, helping my mom get discharged. She got discharged a few days later. She's at physical therapy. They're both doing okay. My mom is doing better. My dad isn't as, well as he can be, I guess. Like, he's doing okay. But yeah, I mean, that's been, that was the drama that was going on in the past week. And, it honestly took up all my brain space. It was like either that or work. So I would be like dealing with home stuff. And then I would like be slacking with work people. And then I would really start working at like 7. And then I'll be up until 1, like just like writing decks or whatever. So it was just like crazy. But things are better now. Things have settled down. Still dealing with some of that stuff, but yeah, that's been my past week. So yeah, just dealing with old age. Like I said to you, Mike, once I start getting old, I just want to be thrown in a ditch somewhere. Just kill me and throw me in a ditch. Don't tell me if it's happening. It's like the episode of DS9 when Quark tells Garrick to just kill him because people were like after Quark, and Quark was just like, just kill me. Don't tell me what's going to happen. And Garrick's like, and the Quark's like, Quark gets a little nervous that Garrick's really going to do it. And he's like basically like screaming every time he turns a corner because he thinks Garrick's going to be there to kill him. But I want that. I want like Garrick to kill me in my sleep, and I wake up in the divine treasury and I don't even know how I got there. I want it to be that good. But the truth is my body is in a ditch somewhere.
There we go.
So yes, that's what I want to happen when I start getting old and my body starts to shut down.
And I told you, I told you, once you make me power of attorney, I'll make sure that all those things happen for you. So there you go.
But you need to also need to make sure that I'm like dead before I get thrown in a ditch. I don't want to be alive.
Clearly,
get thrown in a ditch because that is suboptimal.
Well, of course, yes, of course. No one would want to wake up in a ditch. The dead part is a prerequisite to the ditch. Yes, absolutely.
Just so we're clear.
Well, that wasn't morbid at all.
That's my update. That's my update to Deanna. Thanks, Counselor Troi.
Right. Yeah.
What about you, Mike?
Well, so similar things. Dennis's mom has been really sick, and yeah, it was really touch and go for a while. So it's been a huge stress, and I think that's made it easy for Dennis and I to understand where you're at, and you to understand where we're at, because dealing with a parent who's dying is or sick or severely sick is a huge challenge. And Dennis's mom is out on Long Island. That is a good hour plus away from us. So yeah, we're dealing with that, and that was really touch and go. We really thought that it was going to be over, and so I didn't have the bandwidth for that either. And then on top of that, work is going 1,000 miles an hour. And, and then, so this was 2 weeks ago when we were both kind of dealing with this all at once, and then obviously last week was kind of the lead up to all of the insanity that we're currently in.
That's true.
Where we are still waiting on the results of an election, and it's been crazy. So yeah, it's just so much going on in the world and in our personal lives, not to mention that all three of us work full time. And so trying to balance all of those things at the same time is an incredible feat.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So yeah, we did not. We took a needed break from the podcast because we wouldn't have been able to give it any energy or focus. I mean, I couldn't focus on editing or even thinking about what clips we were going to use or anything like that. So, I mean, in fact, I probably have to go back and watch the second episode again just to.
It feels like forever ago.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and now since today, did you get to watch episode 4 today?
I did. I slapped you my
you did,
immediate
yes.
reactions.
Yeah.
Yes.
So so we, we're two episodes later and we've still got a lot to cover, which we're going to cover this weekend when we have some time that we can dedicate to episodes 3 and 4. But did record this episode right before all hell broke loose in our lives. So coming up next, we're going to talk about Far From Home, which we recorded 2 weeks ago. But if you are a little bit behind on your Star Trek viewing, you want to know that we are going to talk about spoilers, just in case you haven't already watched episode 2, Far From Home. Do that first and then come back and listen to this episode.
I don't want to hear anybody bitching about spoilers. I will stab that person.
Right, because
in my mind.
It's also 2 weeks ago.
What you call pain, I call foreplay.
Should we dive right in?
Yeah, let's get into it.
What were your first thoughts for the episode?
My first thoughts. So I liked this episode. I mentioned this to you over Slack as I was watching the episode, but I enjoyed this episode. I mean, it's also it's another setup episode. The first episode was also set up, so they're both set up episodes, whatever. But I did enjoy this episode more than the first episode personally, because I really like the crew as a whole. I like Michael, but sometimes when the show just focuses on Michael, I don't think it's as strong as when it's showing the camaraderie and the friendship of the crew together and working together to solve a problem. Some of the best moments in this episode, it wasn't even that it had good action, but honestly, some of the more intimate moments between the characters really made it for me, whether it was between Stamets and Culber, between Saru and Tilly, there were just these small moments that really did it for me, that I've missed, honestly, the past 18 months. We haven't seen that in a while, so it was really nice to see that. Versus last week, it was all about Michael, her, discovering a new planet, her getting acquainted with a new character. But sometimes, Discovery, I do think the one thing about Discovery that sometimes I do have a gripe with is that it can sometimes become the Michael Burnham show. And the thing I think that has been really strong about most Star Trek series that I've enjoyed is showcasing, obviously you have a lead, whether it be, usually it's a captain, but where it's really strong, most of these shows, is when the entire crew plays off each other, and that's where the character building happens. Sometimes the show, just the issue that I have again with Discovery is that Michael Burnham becomes the center of the universe. She's the crux of whatever, the Federation Klingon War, the Red Angel. I'm sure the Burn probably is gonna. I'm sure Michael Burnham somehow connected to the Burn. I wouldn't be surprised. She's it's too central on her sometimes. So it's very refreshing when it's really just showing the crew and everyone's important. Everyone has a hand in things. Everyone has a voice. Everyone contributes, and that's why I think the show really shines. But what did you think about this episode?
Yeah, I have nothing to add to that. No, I'm kidding. I agree with all of that. This is really the USS Discovery show this week, and we get to see the full crew. Everybody has a role. Even Linus showed up, which is great.
But then he ghosted. I don't know what happened to him. Giorgio was like, "Oh, come with me. You can see a lot of the spectrum, right?" And then he was nowhere to be found. I don't know what happened.
Right. Well,
Linus.
If I remember correctly, though, Commander Nan talked to Linus, and Linus said that Giorgio had come down to engineering to help out Stamets and Jet work on
Oh,
things.
I thought she was like go down to deck 8 to help them out, and then Linus was ashore, and Giorgio was like, "All right, we're going together," and then they just did not get there, never got there.
There was that, and I think they went there. Then when I see what you're saying. Now
Yeah, they never showed. I don't think they ever showed up.
Yeah, okay. Yes, you're right. You are right.
Well, I only watched it once. I'm going through my second rewatch, so we can get clarity on some of the details. But I think that's what happened.
Yeah, you are right. I guess the one thing about Discovery that I don't know and as much about or is the deck layout, the layout of the show,
Unclear.
of the ship. So but yes, so going back to it, I really going back to my overall thoughts, just I loved seeing all of the cast having a role in this, from the Doctor to Hugh to Stamets and Reno. I felt like was I almost felt like she should have been in the show opening credits, just like Rachel Ansherall, Commander Nan was. So, I enjoyed it. She brought a good, strong presence. Like, she's a good balance to Saru, who's much more soft spoken, except when he tries to rally the crew. She's kind of the voice of every man, every woman, every person on the ship, saying, I'm hurting and complaining and like all of that. And I really love the banter between her and Stamets. Like that was a central piece of late last season.
They have this like hate relationship. It's
yeah
great.
yeah so yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought that it was a great, and again, this is part 2, right, of the opener, kind of like the premiere, like the 2-hour premiere of the 32nd century, and now we're a year later in 3189. So very exciting that we've jumped ahead another year. So who knows what Michael Burnham was up to for the whole year.
I know. I thought it'd be longer, but I guess a year is sufficient.
Yeah, I mean, I actually thought it was going to be shorter. After we stopped recording last week, I thought that when she
her hair is so much longer.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, of course. One of the things that I thought about, though, was when she sent the Red Angel back to send the last signal.
Yeah.
If you remember in the season ender last year.
Yeah.
It was 4 months. It was like 126 days. So that's how long I thought the difference would be between the Discovery arriving and Michael. But clearly I was wrong. It was a year. I was incorrect. It's been a year. And here we are. Some questions that I have. What happened to Detmer?
Yeah, they kept on teasing it. And like clearly something is wrong with this woman. And everyone's like looking at her. I'm like, why? Like something is clearly wrong. Like everyone is just like, oh, are you okay? And then looking at her weird, and then she looks out of it. Yeah. And like, all right, does this not warrant further investigation? You're just gonna let her wander around the halls and take command of take command of the helm? Like, she's not well.
Yeah, there's definitely something going on with her, and I'm gonna throw in a little speculation. Maybe something from Control got inside of her.
I was thinking about that, but I really don't need that.
I don't either. I
don't need Control back.
I don't either.
I was thinking that because she has some like artificial like implant. I'm like, I don't need Control back.
But
please,
we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, that was definitely one of the questions I had for this episode for sure. Let's talk a little bit about Giorgio. She's clearly. So oh man, I would even go far to say she's a bitch in this episode. Like,
it's great. I love Michelle Yeoh.
I do. Hands down, I love Michelle Yeoh. Absolutely, she was all fired up and really like almost too much. I felt, I think Giorgio is a great character. I think especially Emperor Giorgio and her trying to fit into this universe. But man, she was tough and really.
Well, I think that's when Saru was talking to Tilly, and when Tilly was like, she she thinks I'm worthless. And then Saru was like, well, you know, she's just really worried about Michael and she doesn't know how to process it. So this is how it comes out. You know, she just basically sublimates it through aggression. And I think it's true, you know, like later on the bars, you know, the bar fight when she was gonna like I was like, she would be justified, honestly, blasting him. I wouldn't have an issue with that. But she was very aggressive, like, you know, when she was on Discovery, like, you know, because she was like she wanted to contact Michael ASAP. So it made sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But I guess I missed that, or that was just kind of implied and never really stated. That Giorgio was missing Michael. Like, I think Saru filled in that detail. Giorgio never said that. Like, she just was.
But I think that's what Saru was saying. Like, she's not good. She's not very self-aware. So she's not good at processing feelings, you know?
Okay. I mean, that's fair enough. Yeah. But, you know, once we get into the bar, like, it was kind of, I kind of could see that coming. Like, it was clear that she was going to end up in the bar, not because of the promo pictures, which did make sense after the fact. But definitely, you know, I thought that if anyone's going to show up out of this, it's Giorgio. And of course, she's going to kick ass. This is her. You know, a bar is her home.
I know.
You know, being in the middle of a bar fight, of course. You know, so I thought it was really well done. You know, she was definitely playing up her weakness, or playing down her playing down.
I mean, she
strength.
Totally got caught on purpose.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she was like, totally. Yeah, this is all planned on her part. So
but she has some good lines. I don't know. They give her really some really juicy lines. Her and Reno have some like really nice nuggets in there.
Yeah, they do. Certainly the one about pain is foreplay for her. Yeah. So it was I was not surprised at all that she was in the middle of that bar, and that it would soon be just them standing. Like, there was no question about that. It was, you know, it was kind of a given, and which is kind of rote and kind of boring a little bit, but it's always fun to see Michelle Yeoh kick ass. So
you can't deny that they have good stunt choreography. I mean, especially compared to like original, like TOS. Like,
yeah, sure, yeah,
it's come a long way.
And I'm sure she does some of her own stunts.
She does a lot, I think, if not all of her own stunts.
Yeah, so
she's very nimble.
And I think you told me she's 60 years old.
She's old, like, but she is not old. Like, I don't know. She takes care of herself. I don't know what she does.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's amazing.
Yeah, she is.
So speaking of Saru, what did you think about how he played out in this episode? His character played out in this episode.
He took command. He was confident. He kept everyone focused on the goal. That's a good question. I felt like he was wiser and older. He let Tilly kind of ramble on and just kind of accepted it. He knew that the crew wanted to get outside and find out where they were and when they were, and instead kept them focused on fixing Discovery, which was wise. He led the away team. You know, I would say, like, excellent first officer material. Like, that would be like a Spock, Will Riker. Like, I think for me, he really solidified himself as the Spock, the Will Riker / Data of Discovery. Like, the first officer, the next, you know, the person to lead the away missions, the leader among the people kind of situation.
So by saying that, do you feel that Michael should be captain and he should be first officer?
Yeah, I do. I think that that's probably where they were going with this all along, from the initial spec of this show to the end, because this is the first show where we didn't focus on a captain, where it was surrounded by someone else. And I think that's the natural progression at this point, is that...
See, I don't need Michael to also be the captain. I really don't need that. I don't need... like, the thing I really liked about, like, everything you mentioned in this episode as to Saru, like, he was he knew how to just deal with the situation, take command, and still employ the Federation's values, and he stuck his ground. And I do like this new non-fear ganglia version of Saru.
Yeah, I agree.
But I thought he seemed very natural in command. And personally, I think I would vouch for him to be captain over Michael, because I don't think Michael needs to be captain and the center of the universe. Like, please. Like, she already has enough labels. Like, oh my God, she's the freaking Red Angel. She's the instigator of the Federation Clan War and captain of the U.S. Discovery. I don't need that.
Okay. I mean, and I see that, and I who knows? I mean, we don't know what this last year has been, whether they'll find another captain on a down starship and bring them into the crew. Who knows? So it's very possible that she may not be. But she does have, the reason also why I say that is because she has a year's experience now in the 32nd century. And I think that that's why she'll become captain, is because she has that experience and she has that knowledge of.
Or she can be a consultant.
She's not going to be a consultant. She's part of the command structure. This was her track all along, right? She was months before the Klingon war. She was a few months away from being promoted to captain of her own ship. So she's a natural leader. And I think that that's just, obviously all these things have kind of waylaid her in different ways. But I think this is the moment for her to become captain, simply because she's got the experience in the 32nd century now. And I think this crew is going to need that guiding force, not as a first officer. But I also think that there's a strong possibility that Michael and Saru will co-lead this ship. I know that they'll need to be someone who's captain, but I feel like out of all the iterations in Star Trek, I feel like this crew, especially this bridge crew, this is a crew that works together. And I think that part of that reason is Pike pulled that together, because Lorca certainly did not do that. So I think Pike really set them up to be a team and a all moving in the same direction and working together. So who knows? But, I think that we're kind of progressing towards that. Also, I will say this. I mean, a strong Black woman in command of a starship, I think, is not only a symbol for the 32nd century, but also a symbol for the 21st century.
I guess. I mean, I'm gonna kind of riot for 5 minutes if she becomes captain, because I'm all in on Team Saru, but sure.
No, I love Saru. I guess I'm looking at it from the writer's standpoint, like the whole idea of this journey, this hero's journey type adventure that we're on, and she's really been on that hero's journey, and I think that leading the Discovery is the next step. But I'll be happily surprised. I'll be happy with anything. For me, this is not a show where I feel like I need to predict the future, or I'm along for the ride. Like, I feel like out of all the iterations of Star Trek, I am a crew member on the USS Discovery, and I'm going along.
Crew member.
Yeah. Although I did catch in a shot some people in the background on the bridge who aren't part of the main bridge crew. So they, obviously there are
definitely randos.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so we do know that there are 88
and Gene Hazmat.
Yes. Who's an ensign, who's listed in Memory Alpha as an ensign.
He is?
Yeah.
Oh, has he appeared in other episodes?
No, I don't believe so. But
okay.
But you gotta love Reno for just dismissing him completely.
I know. Poor Gene.
Yeah.
Actually, I think he was kind of cute, but he only had one line.
I don't have a strong feeling about his cuteness factor, to be honest with you.
It's okay. It's all right.
I still think Wilson Cruz looks great as Hugh Culber, looking good in his dirty bloodied white uniform.
I know who decided that they should all wear white uniforms, especially when it's such a messy job, whatever. But
Shall we
there it
talk a
is.
little bit
Yes.
about our favorite gay couple in Star Trek?
Sure.
A lot of great character moments with the two of them. Two very strong personalities going back and forth, and once again Stamets doesn't listen and does his own thing and is bleeding out into Jeffrey's tube.
I know that was kind of dumb, but that's honestly me though. If I was injured and I just wanted to get something done, I would be the one to do it, regardless of the consequences, because I know that I can do a better job than anyone else.
Even though you're bleeding all over the Jeffrey tube. But I love their back and forth, and no matter how hard Hugh comes at him, like, I'll get you grounded if you don't stay in this for one cycle. You better live so I can kill you. Like some great lines with this very tumultuous relationship that they've had. And having watched the second half of season 1 again recently, and now going into season 2 and knowing what I'm coming up to, which is kind of the rebirth of Hugh Culber and that whole piece, everything that they've been through, it's nice to see them back to their normal, snippety snappity selves.
Yeah, I feel like they kind of need a break, like as in like they need some downtime as a couple, because it's been nonstop.
Yeah, it has. I agree. Yeah, they need a vacation.
Need some
on
R&R.
Risa. They needed some time on Risa for sure. Yeah,
some alone time, because it's really been nonstop.
Yeah, it has. Yeah. So shall we? What else do you want to? Well, so we meet the coordinates.
Well, I was going to ask you what you thought about this alien planet that we're on, and I guess also the inhabitants.
So I thought that, again, so if I thought that this was a character show, which it was, this was also a huge special effects visual episode as well, crashing through these.
It totally reminded me of Timeless, that Voyager episode.
Yeah, and also it reminded me of Generations, where
the Voyager episode was also like an icy planet.
True. Oh, that's true. You're right. Yes. Yeah. The crash.
At least 3 and 3 was like lush.
True. Yeah, it was trees that they uprooted. In this case, it was icy rocks and whatnot. But yeah, you're right. So this is more timeless. But again, like, wow, like that ship, the visuals around the crash landing were amazing. The world that they crashed on with these floating rocks. Very Avatar, yeah. Also, according to Tilly, there were decahedrons, I believe. So they're artificially made, apparently. And then she also mentioned, which also came out in the conversation between Zareth and Cal or Osira or Osir.
Rando A and Rando B.
Yes, the
we're never gonna see them again.
Well, we don't know. I mean,
dubious, but continue.
Yes, true. These pockets of air. So this is an interesting planet where there's pockets of air, it doesn't have a complete atmosphere, it sounds like. So Zara threatened the bartender's family or Cal's family, I forget, or both. He threatened everybody, basically. Of course. And I think this is what we're going to find in this 32nd century universe, is a lot of these little despots showing up and taking control of their area. And I think that, preying upon people who are weaker, who don't have the resources. And so I think that part of this season, I hope that we'll get to see part of the season is kind of restoring peace and justice to the universe. To to the universe. What did you think of the planet?
I thought it was all right. It was very, like you said, it was very special effects heavy. I was definitely like, this is Avatar. The parasitic ice, I was like, sure. I mean, it's not really ice if it's an organism, but I'll take it, I guess. That was interesting. Yeah.
I mean, the visuals around that were really interesting, and I think in this world where you didn't want to introduce too many new characters or situations, the planet being
it's a little
the
desolate.
problem. Yeah, the planet was the enemy of Discovery, essentially, in this episode. Aside from Zara being kind of like the local drug lord or whatever you want to call him. What did they call him? The courier.
He's a courier.
Courier, yeah.
Yeah, it seems like the couriers are kind of the big bads of the universe, sort of galaxy right now.
Yeah, and they mentioned the Tellarite, which I'm wondering if they meant the planet that Michael landed on, because they mentioned the Tellarite exchange.
Oh, I did not recall that.
So yeah, I took your advice, and I had closed captioning on.
It helps a lot.
It does. It helped me pick up the coordinates as well. So yeah, I was paying attention to the little details like that, so that made sense. Although I didn't know that maybe it's the Corridanites. I don't know. We're horrible at pronouncing names on this show, apparently.
They're also made up words. They're made up species. It's not even a real word. And they've only appeared like once during Enterprise or twice during Enterprise.
Yes, yeah.
Minor species that we'll probably never see again.
I did feel for and get to like Cal, because he's the one that rebuilt their communications transistor or whatever.
That got shot and died.
Yeah, I felt bad. Like, that was because he
also made that connection with Tilly.
He made that connection with Tilly. He wanted to be Starfleet, so he had dreams. So there are some like dreamers out there about the universe and Starfleet, whatever Starfleet's condition is in this century. So I'm excited to see more. We've seen 3 planets, if and we've seen very, very few different species. We still don't really know the lay of the land, which is also why I think after a year in the 32nd century, Michael is going to be the captain, because she's familiar with what they're up against,
I guess. Well, I do. That's one thing now I want to see, because now we know where Michael is. Now we know where the Discovery is and where the crew is. But now what's next? Because that was the 2 big questions going into the season, right? Where are they? Are they going to find each other? When are they going to find each other? And now that they found each other, what's the mission? What are they going after? Are they just trying to, I know the larger mission here is to revive the Federation, but what does that mean? What's the next step? So that's what I'm very curious about.
Yeah. And I kind of go back and forth on this. I just thought of this, but I like it, and I like how the episode was ended, with the surprise, thinking that there was another vessel coming, and it was the bigger bad rather than Zareth. It was the bigger guy, the next guy up on the food chain.
Open a channel, Mr. Bryce. We will face whatever or whomever has come for us together.
Channel open.
On view screen, please.
Saru!
Michael?
Yeah, it's me. I found you.
But I was glad it was Michael, but I would really have loved to have seen a cutaway scene of Sahil seeing the Discovery come into existence and alerting Michael, and sort of fulfilling that role of I forget, chief communications officer or whatever. So it would have been cool to kind of see that, but I understand why they did it. It was a surprise. I really did think that we were going to. I was not expecting Michael to come at the end of this episode. So
I'm glad that happened because I didn't need their reunion to be dragged out for like half the season or something.
well, no, I don't think it would have been dragged out for half of the season, but
Well, the search for Spock dragged out for half a season. It took forever to find the guy.
you mean the movie Search for Spock?
No, season 2 of Discovery. Remember? They were
Yeah.
they almost got him, but
Yes.
like
Just
in a
get
shuttle
away.
that somehow eludes the Discovery. I'm like, oh my goodness, how fast is a shuttle and how hard is it to track down this guy? It took forever.
You're right. And just because of the way you said the Search for Spock, my mind went to the movies
I
rather
understand.
than
It was a search for Spock, though.
It was. You're absolutely right. They should have called the first half of that season, for last season, the Search for Spock. You're
Technically,
absolutely
it was
right.
the first search for Spock because it happened before Star Trek II: The Search for Spock. The first time Spock was searched for.
Yes. Okay.
And it took forever.
There we go.
Anyway, that's my tirade of the hour.
That is your tirade of the hour. Well, shall we do a quick character corner focus here?
Sure, let's do
All right.
Number one, you sailed with Burnham aboard the Senju. What is your assessment of her abilities?
Tig Notaro, who plays Jet Reno, played a big role in this week's episode, and
She was delightful.
She
I
really
really like her a
was.
lot. I feel she really brings dynamicism to the crew that it's just so different in terms of energy. She's great.
She's kind of like the Giorgio that is actually Starfleet versus the Giorgio who's clearly not.
Yeah, like instead of killing people, she's just really salty.
Yeah,
that's like,
exactly.
That's
Yeah,
basically what she is.
Yeah. We learned last season that she had a wife who died in the war, and she's had this back and forth with Stamets. And Saru actually.
Well,
she said
you watched season 2 most recently. It's been forever since I've seen season 2. What is the beef between them? Like, why are they kind of just salty with each other?
So Jet comes into the engine room, I think in episode 2 of season 2, and she's fixing something, and they just Stamets was always very proprietary and protective of his engine room, the spore drive and everything, and she comes in to fix a EPS conduit or something like that, and that's sort of where it began. I think she invaded he didn't recognize him, just like almost exactly like how he treated Michael when she first came into the engine room in season 1, so I think that same sort of thing, his default is I don't like anybody, especially new people. And so they just but she doesn't take any of his shit at all. She just dishes it right back to him from the start. So I think that this, and you see this dynamic relationship between them in this episode, right? This very feisty back and forth. Like, no, I'm not. My spine is telling me, no, I'm not going anywhere. I'll sit here and keep you company, but you're going to do it. And, she has a lot of great one-liners. But I want to back up for a minute because she also played a great presence on the bridge. And it seems like she's the chief engineer. I mean,
I don't know what her title is exactly. Yeah, it's kind of like how Colbert is not the CMO, right? Like,
right?
Yeah. He's just a doctor.
But neither is Dr. Pollard, which is interesting. She's not.
I don't know who the chief medical officer is.
Yeah,
actually.
I don't think we've ever met that person, and we've never met the chief engineer before either. Because I actually think, now that I remember, Jet says the chief engineer sent me to fix this, and so yeah, we have these chiefs that we never see and don't know, and I don't know if the writers are missing that or if they're trying to flatten the structure, flatten the leadership curve, hierarchy. Thank you. On the ship by doing that, I don't know. But yeah, she has some great one-liners. It's a drug stalking towards the end. I forget what she calls Stamets. at that moment, but and Hugh's like,
Bobcat.
what did you, oh, Bobcat. And
Is it
he's
Bobcat?
like,
I think. Yeah.
oh
something like
yeah, that sounds about right. And he says, what'd you call her? It's the drugs talking.
that. Yeah.
So yeah, I think she brings the Giorgio factor, but it's sarcasm, but it's the feistiness that really none of the other crew have. Not even, everyone's super nice on the Discovery for the most part. And so it's sort of Jet Reno and Giorgio who are kind of the, the spicy ones, if you will.
Yeah.
But I think she's a great addition to the crew. From her interview on the Pod Directive, which we both listened to this week, she is
She's
enjoying.
great. Yeah.
She's
I think
great.
I would like her in real life.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've never seen any of her stand-up though. Have you?
I have not. No. So I kind of want to look. I think maybe she's got something on Netflix.
I have no idea.
But yeah, obviously she's a member of our family. She's a lesbian woman who's married, has a wife, and she does a lot of work with her wife.
Does she?
So they both. I mean, in the interview, they talk about like they do some projects together. They are working on some things.
I didn't. I think I have left 10 minutes left or something.
Oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, it was great to see, but she's enjoying being a guest star and not a member of regular.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
No desire.
Yeah.
And I mean, so half of the interview on the Pod Directive was about her struggling with the technobabble. But I was like, you don't have that much technobabble in this episode. This is easy. But we're not her.
Right. Yeah.
And she's not us. So
yeah, she did go into depth talking about
like the EPS manifold or whatever.
Yeah, but also like just the fact that she feels bad whenever she messes up, and everyone's so nice to her about it, and they just help her. But I thought that her lines, especially on the bridge, were just spot on, like well delivered. Just really, she really did a great job, and it would be, I'd love to talk to Tig Notaro and just get her take on this, but
maybe one day when this podcast is big enough for her to care.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, never know.
Never know. So yeah, so that's anything else about Jet Reno we want to talk about?
I don't think so. I totally. I remembered when I listened to the Pod Directive interview, but I'll be honest, I totally forgot that she is a lesbian in real life and in character. I totally forgot about that. But I like that they don't really make a big deal of it on the show in any way. Like when she first in season 2, I think she had a heart-to-heart with Culber because Culber and Stamets, their relationship was rocky, and she had like they had a talk.
She went with a splinter. She went to the sick bay with a splinter in her finger.
Right, as an excuse to have a conversation.
Yeah.
And they didn't make a big deal like, oh, you're also gay. Like it was just very natural. Like, yeah, like my wife and I are like this, and you and Stamets are like this too. And we need to, these are the people that we're attracted to, and this is how we need to deal with them. Like it was just like, it was very natural. It wasn't a big deal that they're both LGBTQ. It was just like, whatever, this is how it is, which I really like.
And we've talked about it before, and I just put it together when you mentioned it, but this is another role where we have a lesbian woman playing a lesbian role. And so I think that's great. I think that Hollywood needs to continue to do more work in that direction. And I hope to.
Yeah, props to Star Trek for doing that kind of casting choice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, great. Any other thoughts on episode 2? Or part 2 of the 2-hour 32nd century introduction movie? If we were to...
I think I touched on everything on my notes. I think honestly, my biggest WTF is Detmer and what's going on.
Yeah, that's definitely a big question. One of the things I think, I don't know if I mentioned it or not, we at least know, like, there are only 88 of them on this crew,
Right.
so not a lot of hands to work on that big starship. So
I think that how many crew members did they have previously before they made the jump? Do you remember?
I don't. I want to say at least
It was
100.
more.
It was
It's
like
more.
150 maybe, or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what the crew complement of a Crossfield class starship is, but
No idea.
yeah. But they did give everyone the option of leaving, and so 88 people decided to stay on board. 87 if you include the alien with the big weird head that died.
Yeah, I was like, what's that?
Yeah. So they died. So we did see one death in this episode, but I thought it was a well written episode. Like some action, lots of character development, great special effects. I think it like checked all of the boxes for me as an enjoyable episode, and really highlighted what this Discovery family is all about. And it was great to see the crew.
It was definitely more of a character episode than a plot episode. Not much really happened. It was really more about them kind of settling into this new situation they're in and how that affects their dynamics and such.
Yeah. I guess we should wrap it up.
So if any of our listeners have any thoughts or questions about episode 2 of Star Trek Discovery Season 3, you can reach us through email at deepspacepride@gmail.com. You can also reach us on social media on Twitter and Instagram at deepspacepride. But I think that does that about does it for this week's episode.
Yeah, sounds good.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Deep Space Pride is a production of Coconut Media Works. Executive producers Bill Smith and Dan Davidson. For more great Star Trek discussion, discover the other shows of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network at trekgeeks.com, or find us in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app.
Coconut.